our senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano, to weigh in on this ruling here. Good to see you, Judge. It's been a moment.
Likewise, my friend.
All right, so it is a 50-something page ruling. He says the Posse Comitatus Act, now they put the ruling on hold until September 12th. We know the Trump administration will appeal. But how much of this do you think is actually trying to just bolster the left to say if he does something like this in California, there's legal precedent? Because the Trump administration is saying we put in the Marines, we put in the National Guard just to protect federal buildings, Judge, and we have every right to do that.
They do have every right to protect federal assets. That's federal personnel and federal physical assets like buildings. But Judge Breyer held a trial. Now, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the courtroom. But his findings were, and he quoted witnesses, many of whom were military witnesses, that the military had engaged in traffic stops and drunk driving arrests and things that police do. Now, from the LA police perspective, they like this because they have extra manpower on the streets helping them do their jobs. But this 1876 statute is still the law. It's been upheld many times by the Supreme Court, and it prohibits the military from doing police work. So the judge did not order the military to leave. He respected the president's right to keep the military there. There were 7,000. There's now about 300. He respected the president's right to keep them there to protect federal assets. He just barred them from engaging in military activity. Then he did something very interesting. He made his ruling statewide, not just in LA where this happened, but the entire state of California, because the president has threatened to do the same thing in San Francisco. I thought that was rather controversial and very bold of him to do. We'll see what the appellate court does. He also did the right thing by staying the effect of the ruling for 2 weeks to give the Trump administration time to file their inevitable appeal.
Yeah. Well, apparently Newsom doesn't want a National Guard, but he's okay putting California Highway Patrol suppression teams in places like L.A., which Bass welcomes. So there's either a crime problem or there's not a crime problem. You can't have it both ways, Newsom. But here we go. I want to talk about Ryan Ruth. Judge Knapp, of course, he is charged with trying to kill President Trump at his Florida golf course. He's representing himself. There's a pretrial conference today. He has pleaded not guilty to the serious federal charges, assassination, assaulting a federal officer. Now we have, this sort of strange, situation where he's representing himself, which under the Constitution he can. But it probably will make it a very slow and challenging trial for the judge there, Eileen Cannon.
Oh, boy, you're putting it mildly. This is a judicial nightmare when the defendant represents himself in a criminal case, particularly a case where he's accused of trying to murder the President of the United States. I've tried criminal cases where defendants represent themselves. Listen to this, Bianca, because the defendant is entitled to a fair trial, if he's representing himself, doesn't know how to deal with documents, doesn't know how to cross-examine witnesses, doesn't know how to do anything in the courtroom, the judge has to actually help him without appearing to side with him. Because if the trial is fundamentally unfair because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and then he gets convicted, guess what? There's going to be a second trial. So this judge will have his or her patience tested like it's never been tested before, to walk that very fine line between making sure the defendant gets a fair trial without losing the impartiality that judges have to maintain during the trial. Very difficult to do.
And reportedly, she's had the legal appointed counsel to be on standby, knowing that she may have to enlist them in some way, shape, or form. It's going to be fascinating. Judge Andrew Napolitano, such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us today.
Anytime, Bianca.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.